Hey everyone, this video may never see the light of day. I don't know. I'll debate it. But I'm going to try to talk about it. This is going to hit some very controversial stuff, so fair warning. Okay, so everybody knows about the murder of Charlie Kirk. You know, there was a writer at DC, Gretchen Feltner Martin, who said a lot of mean things, very controversial things too. In relation to that, also had a much more controversial post, all on Blue Sky. The first one said, trigger warning for Red Hood #1, didn't know why. Oh, it's because police are shooting themselves, and says, quote, I never thought of them as people. Ooh. I felt uncomfortable quoting that. I really did. The other one was cheering Charlie Cook's assassination. I'll put it up there. Hope the bullet wasn't hurt when it touched Charlie Cook. I mean, just really bad stuff. And DC promptly stopped publication of the series, asked retailers to send back the copy of #1 of Red Hood. It was the day it came out, and said they would give full refunds. And if you think about it, that's the only move they can make now. A lot of people are calling for this and that, like calling for people who hired her because she had a history of this. She celebrated 9/11 and some other very controversial things. Okay, so I was following this on the YouTube channel Comics by Perch. If you've never watched it, it's very jokingly, very low production stuff, but really good insights into the comic industry, into what's happening, into things about comics. I always find it very interesting. I don't always agree. I've commented on things and he's commented back. We've gone back and forth a little bit, but it's always in respect. I mean, it's just, oh yeah, we just disagree on this fact. Here's why I disagree. Here's why he disagrees. It's the limit. But sometimes I really agree with him too. And I really agreed with his take on this situation. He said, the day of, he said, DC's got to pull the plug, stop this series, everything. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty intense and insane. It's kind of scary in some ways, because it's like people celebrating murder to me is just a scary thing. I mean, even I get not disagreeing with someone. I disagree with a lot of people, and I'll even go on record saying I disagree with Charlie Kirk on a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't know everything the guy said, but that's beside the point. It's like, I don't have to agree for you to have the right to speak your mind. That's it. You don't deserve murder for it. Mark Hamill said, no, in this country we settle our disagreements with ideas and words and actions, not with violence. Thank you, Luke Skywalker, for being Luke Skywalker. My personal belief is murder is never okay unless it's self-defense. And I would include wartime with that as well, because, when you're at war, yeah. But I would consider that self-defense. So, just to get these things off the table. But anyway, Comics by Perch read a very, very disturbing email. I will link the video below. It's simply him reading the email and then commenting on it, and then pretty much at the end says, try to be the hero. But it got me thinking, like, and I know people are going to say this is a one side or the other. No, it's not. both sides have this problem. Let's get that out of the way. But it's getting a little scary because more and more the okay for violence against people for what they say is alright. What does this have to do with toys? Well, it got me thinking. There are certain people in the community who act out, who have been in encounters. There have been fights broken up. I mean, a fight is one step away from bringing a weapon into it. And you know, you gotta say when this is like, you know, this is not okay. This is not okay. Violence is not okay. You can't answer things with violence or threats of violence. And that's what's been done. That's been done in the toy community. Sorry, Chad. I'm using that term broadly just to say people who collect toys, not that we are a community. Define my definition there. We can't do that as a society. This is getting way out of hand. Killing people because you don't like their ideas. Threatening people because you don't like them saying violence isn't good. That's crazy. That is insane to threaten someone. And very veiled threat. I will say that. Very veiled threat. It's there. But it's very veiled threat. This is not okay in my brain on any level. I mean, you know, I don't get where these people are coming from anymore. And the threat is, I mean, it sounds like a death threat. Okay? That's the seriousness of this. And that is, you know, that isn't joking around saying, haha, I'm going to smack you. I mean, that's a whole different thing. You know, this is deathly serious. Like, you will be no more kind of thing. And two totally different ideas. I'm not too keen on the joke about smack you too, but you know, you can tell when it's a joke, and you know, if you overreact, that's fine, whatever, but you know, you can tell when it's a joke and when it's like a threat. There is a huge difference. I mean, there is a huge difference. So, you know, and this whole thing has just been so out of control and so messy. And DC has a lot of work to do. This person had a history of making these kinds of comments. They knew it when they hired her, and they let it go anyway. And so, I know, it's kind of weird I got my DC figures out, because it's a DC issue. It's right now. It's a DC issue. It could be a Marvel issue tomorrow. You never know. But yeah, it's amazing. I am stunned at the lack of humanity we have developed. I know some people are going to say it's a leftist thing, some people are going to say it's a right thing. It's neither. It is a human thing. It is a lack of humanity that we've all developed in the past. Well, you know what? I think it's always been there. You know, because if you think back to wars like World War II, we dehumanized our enemy. On purpose. You ever watch old propaganda films? Yeah. That's what we do. We dehumanize the people who are against us, who we don't agree with. I'll grant you, World War II is different than, oh, I don't like what you say about this or that. There is a difference in those. But at the same time, people want to draw the analogy of that, and that's kind of weird to me. But I cannot wrap my head around why Americans, especially, are thinking this is okay. It's okay to use violence. It never has been, and it never will be. We do have laws against it. So I don't know. I just can't. It's just been so ridiculous. And to joke about someone's death, especially since you can see, there's some high resolution video of this, and you can see it, and it's horrifying. It is horrifying. And but to be able to make jokes about that, what broke in you? And worse yet, how did you get a job at DC? Because I know, even if it was someone I despised with all of my heart and soul, I would think twice before ever posting anything laughing about it. Because that's just something, man. What broke in you that you lost your basic humanity? That's a fair question, I think. I guess the other thing that really gets me is, there are people out there saying, if you don't agree with me that murder is okay in this case, then you're transphobic, or you're homophobic, or you're racist. Instantaneously, if you really don't like this dude, that gives him power. Because people are going to be like, you don't have the right to speak your mind, and speaking your mind gets you killed? Regardless of what was said, it was words. What happened to sticks and stones? If you want to take that stance, that's on you, but realize how you look when you take this stance. It's like, ugh. A lot of us are not okay with murder. That's what I'm saying. I know, people. I dread the comments on this if I do publish it, because it's like, it's going to turn super political. And this is nothing more than human decency. That's all I'm saying. Human decency. You shouldn't threaten a YouTuber. Even if it's a veiled threat. You shouldn't threaten a YouTuber for talking. That's fucking ridiculous. And I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to say, oh yeah, but look at the subject matter he was talking about. It makes it alright. No, it doesn't. Not in the slightest. He's talking about a problem at a comic company. He's talking about what the comic company probably needs to do, because it's a highly controversial thing. He does not deserve a veiled death threat for that. No one does. That is... Talk about a non-issue in the realm of, golly gee, let's make issues out of something. Talk about a next to non-issue. It's a comic book, and even by the admission of the people at DC he knows, everybody said that comic wasn't going to sell very well. So it's like, that makes it even worse. This is not even, a top seller like any of these three guys would be. It was Red Hood. Nobody cared. Nobody cared at all. I'm sure a few people did, but Red Hood is not going to turn the needle very much. But making controversial statements is going to make people go, what? And it's going to make the company look bad. The company has to take a stand, and it gets out there, man. And yeah, there's so many news sites who are like not talking about why this title was canceled. They're just saying, I got canceled, I don't know. You know, or they're not really speaking very loudly on it. So of course you have that muddying the waters even more, because people are like, you know, we don't have to report the actual story if, you know, we don't want to because we agree. You know, I mean, I do think, I know Bleeding Cool kind of made it vague, but I think they did come out and say it eventually. It took a few days. Yeah, I mean, that's not a good look. Especially when there's a history of, you know, things they didn't agree with, that they would actually post links and almost dox people for it. I mean, it's pretty... Man, I'm trying to think of a better word than toxic, but I can't think of one. But it's pretty bad in the comic book community with the politics. It really is. You know, both sides. To me, it's annoying as hell. I try to be as apolitical as humanly possible, but the way people are bringing politics into comics, it's almost impossible. It's hard to read a modern comic without something political getting pulled in. Now, don't get me wrong. Social commentary, I'm cool with. I dig that. If you do a social commentary in a story, I'm fine. That shit I enjoy. I've always enjoyed that shit. But this, like, downright hatred because someone doesn't think the same as you? I mean, I've done dumb things in my life, and there was one time in the mid-90s, I would get upset about certain music, certain songs, and I would just say, God, how can you like that? But I never thought about killing the person. I would just be like, what is wrong with you that you like that? I really can't think of a song off the top of my head at this moment that would encapsulate that, which is weird because normally I can. But yeah, I would vehemently and slightly angrily disagree with that person. Did not mean I hated that person. I didn't want that person around. I didn't want that person alive. It just meant I think your taste in music sucks. I can get why people don't buy these things. Fine. Not a problem. But what I can't comprehend is how people think unaliving someone is a good response. I don't understand that. And I don't understand someone saying that's not okay to actually get a threat of being unalived. That's crazy to me. That is so crazy to me. Okay. When I edit this, I'll decide if I'm going to post it or not. In some ways, I think it's important to draw some eyes towards it. In some ways, it's such a hot button issue, I almost don't want to. Because I don't like hitting hot button issues. At the same time, I want to be relevant and in the zeitgeist of stuff. So, it's a balancing act. I don't know what to do, really. But, anyway. Either way, I've got this off my chest, so even if I don't publish this video, I've got this off my chest somewhere, and there's that. Thanks for watching if you have. Don't forget YouTube stuffs and hype the video, man. You have a good day.